Hello, I'm Tom Fallbush with Kentucky's Voice, and we want to share with you the vision of what we're trying to do. And we're in the process of just letting like-minded folks know what we're doing and seeking support, both morally, both seeking your prayers, we're seeking your financial support, because we have a big vision for doing some great things in the state. And on the state level, there isn't such a thing. And so we're in the process of creating that, and we're launching a conservative news network. And so what is Kentucky's Voice? It's a statewide news organization with a conservative perspective. So picture the Fox News or Daily Wire of Kentucky. Now, of course, think of Fox News in the old Fox News days before they went a little bit wonky lately. But when they launched Fox News, they realized there was half the country voted Republican, and so but there wasn't any media outlet out there to support those voters. So it was a good business decision, if nothing else, just to present a conservative news network. And so just like Fox News, our network will be multi-platform. We'll have both TV, radio, digital, and OTT, which is the same thing as streaming. And so we'll have programming and content that will run across all of those platforms. We're going to have an explicitly religious or explicitly political conservative perspective in its reporting and editorials. And I've said the word religious because we are evangelical Christians, and we have a religious conservative viewpoint in most of our reporting as well. So who are we? We are a Word Media Group, and so Word is a fascinating operation. We are a Kentucky-owned, Kentucky-founded media company that has the second largest media group in the state of Kentucky and in the city of Louisville. So we have a full-power TV station in Louisville. We have a low-power TV station in Louisville. We have several radio stations as well. We have WGIE Radio, which is our Christian music station. We have the largest conservative talk station in town, 970 WGTK. We have another Christian music station, a sports talk station, and a Christian talk station. So our political perspective is what it is because we are owned by an evangelical ministry. And so that's important because we're not going to change our tune in a few years. We're not some corporate CEO is not going to come in from New York and say, hey, we're going to change our direction. We're going to go liberal today. No, we're going to stay conservative, and because we live here, this is who we are, and we have the passion to fight this battle, unlike others who would try to take this on. So the media projects we're going to launch are several, and as I mentioned, we're going to be multi-platform. So one platform is television, and so we have a vision of doing nightly newscasts for each Kentucky broadcast market. So picture a Louisville nightly newscast for Kentucky's Voice, and then we have a separate newscast for Lexington, another newscast for Bowling Green. These newscasts will run on stations. We're going to partner with independent stations in those markets and clear a news broadcast every evening. And so they're also going to do a weekly investigative reporting programming. So picture 60 Minutes for Kentucky. And so there's no reason we shouldn't be doing some real deep dives into what's really happening on issues in the state. And we're also going to do a weekly debate show and call-in programs. And it's just really important to do these things. Even if you have a small audience, for example, even if you're not making a huge impact in the ratings, the very fact that you cover an issue forces the rest of the media to cover the same issue. And because very often the bias we see in media is not so much the bias within the story itself, which we all can spot and we know that is there, but bias also comes from just choosing what stories to cover. And so if I'm more of a left of center or left-wing journalist, there's stories I'm just not going to talk about or cover because I'm not interested in them, or maybe they don't advance my cause. Crime in Louisville, for example, or how the abuses at abortion clinics, or teachers being fired for not using correct pronouns. All these stories are huge stories in our state, and they're not covered as well as they should be. And so, get radio. We're going to also do a radio project. So I used to be the manager of Kentucky News Network, which is a radio news network for the state of Kentucky. It's run by iHeart, and when I ran that, Well, first of all, what it is, it's a news network that feeds about 120 small town radio stations throughout the state, and at the bottom of every hour, there's a KNN, Kentucky News Network, newscast, and it talks about Kentucky politics and statewide politics and news. The number one complaint I would get when I ran that is, I don't want to hear Louisville news. I don't want to hear liberal news. And all I'm getting on this is liberal Louisville news. And so I know there's a demand with these states, or with these stations in rural red counties, to have conservative newscast. And so I think it would be very easy for us to regain or to gain market share just by going to these same stations and saying, listen, we're gonna be a more right of center newscast. You're getting left of center stuff now, and your listeners will be much more pleased with this content. So we also want to do a statewide syndicated talk show, like just picture a Rush Limbaugh for Kentucky. We want to do a local news breaks for our radio stations that we already have in Louisville. And so when you hear a news break on WGIE, for example, it'll be Kentucky's Voice News. Digital, okay, so everything we do for television and radio, we want to repurpose that content for digital. So you're going to see, all of our newscasts on YouTube and on Instagram and Facebook, and all of our investigative reporting will be on there as well. We're also going to create unique programs for social media. And also OTT and streaming. I want to mention that we're going to create an app for Kentucky's Voice. So you can go to your smart TV or your Roku device and download an app that says Kentucky's Voice, and it will have all this content that you can watch from your TV in your living room. So whether or not you pick up a station or not, you can still watch through the app, and so it's a beautiful thing. Also, I'm very excited about this last part, the news aggregation site. So if you've ever been to a website called Drudge Report, it's a very popular news website. All Drudge does is he just gathers news from other sources and just puts them all on one page. And so he aggregates news. And so we would do that for Kentucky. We would take all the best news writing that's happening in Kentucky and aggregate it to one spot. And it will be an aggregation site that's called Kentucky's Voice. And you can go there to catch up with the latest on news and politics, but from a conservative perspective. And lastly, we're going to do a media hub. We're going to use our TV and radio stations and open the doors to people that are like-minded, who want to create content and who need help in moving the needle on issues they're concerned about. Open up our studios and say, you need a studio to shoot your podcast? Use ours. Oh, hey, you need somebody to send something out on Facebook? Use us. We want to be a hub and a resource for folks, for candidates, for think tanks, for advocacy groups that are trying to help all things conservative. So execution, this is going to be a phased rollout. We're going to build one aspect of this at a time, but our real goal is to kickstart this and augment the assets we already have. And so we need to kickstart it. That means we need to raise some funding to help do this. We have some assets. We have TV and radio stations. We have some staff, but news is very people intensive, and especially content creation in general is very people intensive. So you need to hire people to do these sort of things. If you go to the average news station in Louisville, like WDRB, half their staff is the newsroom. And so even more than half their staff is in the newsroom. So it just takes a lot of people to do good news. So we're going to also network with local churches in the state. Every major church has a media department these days. They have cameras. They have people that know how to use this stuff. So we can network with churches around the state and use them as resources to gather news and information. Say a tornado hits Western Kentucky, what we call the First Baptist of Madisonville, and say, hey, can your media guy go down and shoot some footage for us? And we'll have this network built to help bring in content for us. And we feel like we can impact every local and statewide race by changing the narrative. One reason Andy Beshear won the election is he controlled the narrative, and the media supported him. And so really a Republican, unless they're outspending the Democrats here, 10-1, they have a hard time breaking through that control that the left-wing media has on media in this state. And so we should never have a left-wing governor. Kentucky should never have a left-wing governor. It makes no sense. We're a deeply red state. We vote for Donald Trump. It shows you when you have good messaging and you have the resources of a national campaign like the presidential campaign, that Kentucky will come out and vote for conservatives. But when it comes to our statewide races that are you're left to either learning about them from your local media or from ads, it's just we are not breaking through like we should. And so we can help change the narrative, change the landscape for every campaign. And so if you ever donated to a campaign, donate to us as well, because we can help every campaign. Long-term vision, this will be a several-year project in Kentucky, but this can be replicated in other states. And so we're going to focus on the battleground states first. So once we get this working good in Kentucky, we're going to go to Ohio, we're going to go to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and launch Georgia's voice, Pennsylvania's voice, Ohio's voice, Michigan's voice, and really move the needle in those states as well. And so we would do that by using Christian media groups, because we are a Christian media group. We're based in Louisville, but our goal is ministry, and so this facility is a great base to build this news operation from. We have friends and colleagues in other states that are willing to do this, and if we can just show them how to do it. So there we go. So we're looking for investors, obviously, and so there's several levels. If we can raise $500,000, we can start right away with our statewide weekly news commentary programming. We're going to do a radio version of that as well, and we're going to syndicate that statewide. And then we're also going to repurpose this content for digital, so you can watch it on YouTube and all things podcasted related. If we can raise $1.5 million, we'll add our digital and online ideas, such as our aggregation site. It will create a lot more content for social media. Basically, hiring a social media director and a digital content director. We'll launch our app, our Roku app, and so then if we have $3 million, we'll go ahead and do the nightly newscast and just launch that out into the state and really take on the major news stations in the state because they need some competition. They need somebody to hold their feet to the fire as well. So that's what we need. This is who we are. This is what we're trying to do. If you share this vision, if you see the need, we encourage you to participate. And you can contact us. I'll put my phone number back up on the screen here. You can contact us at any of these numbers or emails, and we really could use your help. And if you're someone that is thinking about what kind of legacy can I leave for this state, and you thought about, well, maybe I should give to a campaign, or maybe I should give to a cause or something. This is a cause that will change this state for the good and keep Kentucky conservative and voting and thinking with the right perspective on these major issues of our day for years to come. And so we really encourage you to look at this, and we really appreciate your support. So with that, I'll leave it to you, and God bless you, and we really appreciate your support.